Hello, Spark fans, and welcome back to Advancing Spark, where we're having another data science-y day. So the last time we did a data science video, then we had Gavi along to teach us what a feature store is, where they came from, why you would use it if you want to scale a data science team. If you don't want things to get lost in communication and reinvent the wheel every time you start doing some feature engineering, we talked through what a feature store is, and I'll put a link up to the last video. If you've not seen that yet, go watch that. This time, we've got Gavi back to teach us actually how to get started with the Databricks feature store itself. There's a new part inside Databricks. You can go and say, I want to create a feature store, and there's a whole host of functions and things that you can do with it to plug it into your whole machine learning lifecycle. As I've said before, I'm not a data scientist, so I'll be sitting at the back, and Gavi can teach us how it all works. As always, if you're new around here, don't forget to like and subscribe. Let us know down in the comments what you think about this. Are you currently using Databricks Feature Store? Have you been using it since it came out in preview? What do you think? What are your thoughts? Are you comparing it against any other feature stores? Always good to hear what you think. But until then, let's crack on. So, Gavi, welcome back.
Thank you, Simon. How are you doing?
I'm good. Again, always excited when I can just sit back and learn. It's exciting stuff.
Good stuff. Thanks for the introduction. Yes, we are here to talk about Databricks Feature Store. And Databricks Feature Store was announced actually back last year in May. And it's first of its kind to be integrated with MLflow and Delta Lake. So all the benefits that Delta Lake and MLflow has to bring to the table, it's inherited by Feature Store.
Which makes sense, right? Because they are things Databricks made and then open sourced out into the world. So everything they're going to build is going to plug into that ecosystem. So it all makes sense.
Exactly. So I find it quite powerful, really. So like exactly what you said, right? If you're running a big project, if you're creating lots of features, you're trying to not reinvent the wheel and trying to reuse features, Feature Store is a great option to start off with. So what we're going to do today is, well, we've written a blog and a step-by-step tutorial and a guideline to help people get started with using Databricks Feature Store.
What?
Yeah. Okay. So you've got your Databricks.
Yes, I am ready. I'm in Databricks. I've opened up just straight into the homepage. What do we do and where do we go?
Right. For this, we'll need to select a different option. So we're not on data science and engineering. We're going to go for machine learning option.
This is in Databricks parlance. This is switching personas. So we're switching from the data science and engineering persona into the machine learning persona. I don't know why machine learning is different to the data science persona, but it is.
It is. Right. So yeah, we've got four options there in four nice big colorful icons. But what we're going to do is use the feature store option, or it says updated there. So what we're going to do is delve into feature store. So we've got a notebook ready. So if you open that, hopefully, yeah.
Here's one I made earlier. Good.
Exactly.
Well, I didn't make it. Here's one you made earlier.
So it's got Titanic data set, and it's a really well-known data set within the ML community, right? It's a great data set to start off with if you're doing any kind of feature engineering or classification project. So I've chosen a simple data set, and hopefully we can see how easy it is to create features from that data set, write it up to a Delta table, store it in Feature Store, and call it back to train our model.
That's good. I think it's a good choice of data set. I think it goes down well.
I like it.
Goes down well. No. Anyway. Cool. Okay, so what do we do?
So first things first, you import all your necessary files. So I've written it all down there. So we import your NumPy, your pandas, and we're also importing Feature Store.
Hey, very cool. So automatically this is installed on a Databricks cluster.
That's right.
And just to check, machine learning Databricks cluster.
Exactly. Yes, you read my mind, Simon. Machine learning. It can't be your standard cluster. If you start off with standard cluster at this point, or when you start to instantiate Feature Store, you'll get an error. So yes, something to bear in mind. Start off at your ML cluster.
Part of the payloader libraries that are pre-installed if you pick an ML style runtime.
That's right.
Makes sense. All right, what's next?
Okay, step 2 is all about importing the data set that I've already uploaded to DBFS file still. So I'm reading it as a CSV. That's
I've told
it.
you before, it hurts my soul when you upload data directly to DBFS, but I'll let it slide. It's okay.
Yes, I know about that, Simon. Sorry.
I'll forgive you just this once. It's okay.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
And here, what I'm trying to do is just trying to list all the features. So it makes sense, right? When you're doing a feature engineering, the first step really is to understand your data set. So when you understand your data set, then it gives you a better idea on the type of features to create.
Okay. Cool. Okay, so people can take this notebook, run it, and have a play with that kind of stuff if they've uploaded the CSV, right?
Exactly.
Cool.
This is a bit of stats, and I'm just trying to see what my data set's like, how many null values there are in each of those feature sets. So again, it gives me a good indication of what do I need to do in terms of cleaning. Do I need to impute data? Do I need to then create another feature column and all that kind of things, right?
This is kind of just part of your normal process. If you, as a data scientist, were given some data and said, there you go off, do some things with it, you'd follow this process of kind of just like tidying up the features, understanding what each one is, looking at the summary to get the idea of the data shape, kind of going through that process, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's part EDA is a big part of data science projects, right? So what we're really doing here is trying to do a bit of EDA, trying to understand our data set.
Okay, and for those at home, EDA is exploratory data set analysis.
That's right.
Yeah.
Thank you, Simon. You can also be a data scientist.
I know. I can hear the words. I understand the terms. It's fine. Okay.
So here I'm just looking at my schema, making sure that what I've anticipated in the data set, I'm seeing in front of me. So it all looks good, right?
Yeah, makes sense. And then, my language, cleaning data. There we go.
This is something you're probably not going to agree with me, but all I'm doing is renaming columns. So for the purpose of this demo, I've not gone into cleaning the data as much as I should. So what I've done is taken a couple of the column names and just renamed it so it's more obvious to me.
Yeah, so it's tidying up the data set, and that could be trimming out columns you don't want, renaming things. It could be standardizing dates, getting rid of special characters, doing like more formal data cleansing, but getting the data ready.
Absolutely, exactly.
Okay.
So yes, this step is the most important in any data science projects because rubbish in, rubbish out. So if you put rubbish features in, no matter how advanced your model is, you're not going to get a good, accurate prediction or classification. So feature engineering is important. So again, for the purpose of this demo, I could have created a lot more features, but I've only created, I think, 3 or 2 features here. So this step's all about creating your features, and you can do what you want to do. And if you're working in a team, say you've got 2 data scientists and you're trying to divide the work, I could be creating 3 features, and the other data scientist could be creating a couple more features.
Okay, makes sense. So what we're doing, we're going to just pulling it down just to understand what's in the name column currently.
That's right. Yeah.
And then making a few changes based on it. So it's kind of, again, following that process of you take something, have a look at it, and then make a transformation of that to kind of try and tidy it up a little bit.
Exactly.
Cool. Okay, makes sense. So adding a new column, which is calculation by extracting the title out of there. So the people that we can see, you're having a look to see there's a Mr., there's a Miss, there's a Mrs., and you're pulling that out as a separate column.
That's right. Yep, that's it. So yeah, if you scroll down, I think we've got another column. So if you scroll to the right, I think you can see that. There we go.
Very cool. Okay.
But what I've realized is from looking at my data and understanding my data, I can sanitize the titles down even further. So Command 21, that particular block that we're looking at, does that exactly.
Okay, so we're just standardizing and getting rid of the weird Titanic lady, Donna, countesses, and just standardize the misses, stripping them of their nobility. That's okay.
It. Can be misses for now.
Okay, yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, okay. And then this is the second feature that we're looking at. So a lot of the passengers within Titanic didn't really have a column. So what we're doing here is trying to extract the passengers that had a cabin. Sorry, did I say column before? I had a cabin. And then we're trying to create a feature column to say that if they have a cabin, we'll itemize it. If they don't have a cabin, we won't itemize it.
Yeah, that's cool. So all of that then, everything down to here. It's kind of like standard process. So without a feature store, you'd still be doing this. This is just the standard part of getting to know a data set and working with it.
Yeah, and creating your features, right? So at this point, actually, Simon, if we didn't have a feature store, the other data scientists might be creating the same features as I am creating here. And just, it's a lot of reuse, right? It's a waste of time as well.
Yeah. And you might have slightly different interpretations. Someone might have mapped Lady, Donna, Countess to Miss, not Mrs. And then you suddenly have different classifications that you're going to use to debug.
Exactly.
Okay. Right, so we're creating a database.
That's it. Yep.
Whoops.
So here what we're doing is we're creating a database, and I'm calling it a feature store Titanic database. We're then instantiating the feature store client. So we use that particular line, it's all in the code, and we create the table.
So here's the first time we're actually using that whole set of functions, that feature store library we imported earlier. We're now creating things as a result of that. So you got instantiate the client and then fs.create table to go ahead and actually do that. Okay. Makes sense. Cool.
So that's all we're doing here. We're just instantiating the feature store client, we're naming it. Primary keys are listed. We've got df equal to Titanic feature, so that points to the data set that we're actually intending to write into the feature store. So yeah, it's all just a setting up stage.
Okay, yeah, makes sense. So does that actually do the Spark job? Does that go, when you run that, it picks it up and it creates that table, it puts the data in there and essentially is doing a write down to the lake?
It's not doing that just yet.
Okay.
At this stage, we're just creating the table. So I think command 32, if you scroll down a little bit more, that's where we're
write table. That makes sense.
That's it. So that's where we're writing the features.
Okay, and this is Delta under the hood, right? So it's storing Delta. So essentially one of them is creating the transaction or creating the table, and the next one's actually doing the insert of the data into that structure.
Exactly. Yeah.
Cool. Makes a lot of sense.
I'm glad.
Okay.
Okay, so once we do that, then what we're doing here is, here what I'm looking at is just getting some feature tables metadata. I'm just checking it, making sure that what I've written up to the feature store, I'm just checking and validating it really. So that's what command 34 is doing. It's getting the table back from the Delta table. It's printing the key. So I'm just doing a really quick check to say, yeah, that looks right. That's what I anticipate seeing.
Okay, so an FT, so this is going to return, that's still going to be a feature table that's returned, not a data frame, right?
That's
it's still
right.
very much on the feature store client.
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
Makes sense. All right.
So here, another step again. So I'm making sure that the table that I'm pulling back in is the right table. So I'm just checking it really quickly. That's all this is doing. So I'm reading the table, displaying it, checking it, right?
Yeah, makes sense. Go have a look at it. And there is bringing back a data frame.
That's right.
Okay. And then is this piece then, we're now actually going to use it in anger. So you've taken your features, you've taken your original data set, you've got it into the right shape and done some cleansing, you've registered a feature table from it. Now you're like, right, now I'm going to actually go build a model and we're going to pull features from that feature store and use it in anger.
Yeah,
Ooh,
exactly.
Okay.
So you can use all the 3 features that we created previously, or you can just choose to use the title feature set that we created or family size. You can pick and choose what you wanted to do. You can experiment which feature set is going to give you the best model.
Okay, makes sense. So what are we doing here? So we're saying there's a bunch of lookups. Feature lookup, I'm assuming, is that's going to be coming from our feature store library. So we're saying we're doing a specific thing. Here's the table I want you to go and look at, which is going to exist inside as a Delta table, but inside our feature store.
Yep.
I'm saying this is what I want you to go and get and join based on name and cabinet. Okay.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Makes sense. So it's kind of the same as just doing a join to a table and pulling back a certain feature, but it's wrapped in that nice little abstraction library to make it easier to do.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right, then what are we doing?
What we're doing here is then I know that some of the columns have been repeated. So I'm just listing the columns that I want to exclude so that I can train the model and I'm not repeating myself. And I'm creating a training set. So I've extracted the tables. I've extracted the features. I'm just creating a training set so I can use it for my machine learning model.
Okay. Sounds good. Shockingly, if you got a training set, you train a model. Okay.
So this is the fun part where I'm using a light gradient boosting model here. And yeah, so I'm instantiating the MLflow client as well. So I can log all my different parameters. I can see, which model is going to perform better, track the metrics. And yeah, off we go. It's as easy as that.
Easy as that. Magic code written there. Okay. Cool.
Okay, and then what I'm doing is I'm packaging on my model. So I'm giving it a registered name, Titanic package. This will then be stored in the feature store UI. So if you go onto the feature store UI now, Simon, and it should be available as an option.
Naughty.
That will say, there we go. Just below experiments. If you click that, then you'll see the list of features that we've created, a feature table. So there could be one, there could be two. If you're working in a large team again, you could see everyone's feature engineering attempt. So you can see all the features in one place.
Hey, makes sense. Fine. Okay, so we can dive into here and we can see what's inside of one of those tables that we registered.
Yeah, you can. If you click on that option, if you click on that link, so it gives you the name of the notebook that you generated the features when it was last written. If you're pushing it to an online store, you'll have details there as well, and all the different features and how the features have been packaged to different models.
That makes sense. We're going to get basically a bit of a schema definition of the various things that we've saved into it.
Yeah. So I think this is really cool. So you can see your feature lineage as well. You can see, which notebook generated those features and which models are you also using those features.
Very cool. So is that 7 more? Little breakdown. Yeah, so all the different places that we've used that. So if different people were picking from that same feature store and using it in their own models, and then you're about to change the definition of it, you could say, what's going to be impacted by this? And you see all the models that are ingesting, sucking that feature into it. Yeah,
so if you're working in a team as well, you're deprecating some features, this gives you a good indication whether you can actually deprecate features.
Very cool. Really nice.
And what you can do as well, you've got MLflow as well, so you can look at, all right, I've got 8 package models there, but I've looked at it and package number 12 gives me the best accuracy. So you can use that particular package and do a batch inference as well, which is really powerful, right?
It's just the model that's then registered with MLflow. If you're using MLflow for all that stuff, it all nicely talks to each other in the same ecosystem.
Exactly.
Awesome.
That's it, really. So, but if you go back to the workbook, the notebook, right at the bottom, actually, we've got a little command showing if you wanted to do a batch inference using a specific model that's packaged, that's how you would do it.
Of course, it's using that the score batch.
Yep, that's right.
This is why I don't model things, people.
So yeah, that is it from me, really, Simon, in terms of getting the grips of using Databricks feature store. I guess we'll publish the notebook so people can try and experiment it, play with it, and use it, and hopefully it motivates people to use it a bit more.
Yeah, absolutely. So in terms of people getting started with this, so you've got the blog that's on the AA site now. So I'll put a link for that down in the description so people can get that and just walk through all those steps we've gone through in massive amounts of detail, more than I bother doing, and get the link to that notebook from the end of that blog.
That's correct. Yes.
Go. So if people want to get started, they can pick it up, read through, work through that, watch back how it's going, and have a crack from there.
Absolutely.
Cool. I mean, the thing that's interesting for me is like the notebook going through all those steps is largely the same as you would normally do. And then it's just the point at the end going, right, I've got it ready. Let's just save that down. It's almost like a checkpoint you're putting in going, let's just plug into the model. Now I've done the normal feature engineering I'd normally do.
Yeah. Yep.
Awesome. Cool. Well, thank you very much for joining us, and thank you very much for giving us that tour of everything going on. And again, I'm going to bother you to come back another time to show us the next piece. What's up next? What are we going to look at next?
I think it'd be a pretty good idea if we then integrate this with AutoML and see how that all works. So we've spoken a bit about AutoML. We've now showed a demo of how to use feature store within Databricks, and if you can use feature store in AutoML, I think that's pretty powerful as well.
It's like giving AutoML a bit of a head start. Going, actually, don't just start from scratch. There's a load of features we've already designed. Why don't you try and design a load of models using these things as a starter?
Yeah.
Very cool. All right, well, I'll hold you for that. I'll drag you back and you can show us that. And yeah, thanks for coming.
Thanks for having me, Simon.
No worries, anytime. Alrighty. So yes, we've seen the joys of Databricks Feature Store and all the things that you've got inside there. Again, there's quite a lot inside that actually library. So one of the things you can do is just spin up a cluster, an ML runtime cluster, instantiate the Feature Store library, and then just have a look what's inside there. A video I kind of want to do is have a look at those delta tables underneath it. So when you store it and it lands that data down, how does it actually store it? What does it look like? How does it perform? Do you need to optimize it if you've got loads of records there? So I'll do a bit of a dig on my side as well and say, let's have a look at Feature Store from an engineering point of view and have a look at what that's actually doing so we can understand it a bit better. But until then, as always, don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you got any questions, any things, any thoughts and opinions about Databricks Feature Store, let us know down in the comments and we'll catch you next time. Cheers.